Picture this. It's a chilly evening in December 1978, in a quiet Chicago suburb. Police officers, flashlights in hand, crawl beneath a seemingly ordinary home. The smell hits them first, thick, pungent, unmistakable. Then, a detective's shovel scrapes against something solid. He brushes away the damp soil, and what emerges freezes the entire room in horror. Detective voice, reenactment. Jesus Christ, it's a human bone. The man who lived here wasn't a stranger. He wasn't a drifter. He was their neighbor, the man who hosted block parties, the man who dressed as a clown to entertain children at hospitals, the man everyone trusted. His name? John Wayne Gacy. And what lay beneath his home would shock the world. To understand how John Wayne Gacy became one of America's most notorious killers, we must begin where all stories do, at the beginning. John Wayne Gacy was born on March 17, 1942, in Chicago, Illinois. He was the second of 3 children, and the only son. His father, John Stanley Gacy Sr., was a hard-drinking auto repair machinist. His mother, Marion Elaine Robinson, was a homemaker. At first glance, they were a typical working-class family. But behind closed doors, life for young John was anything but normal. His father was a violent alcoholic. He frequently beat John and hurled insults at him, calling him dumb, stupid, and worse. His mother tried to shield him, but her efforts often made his father's wrath even harsher. As a boy, John desperately wanted his father's approval. But no matter what he did, school, chores, church, it was never enough. The young boy who would grow into a killer was made to feel worthless in his own home. At the age of 11, Gacy suffered a head injury when he was hit on the head with a swing. The accident left him with blackouts and fainting spells. Doctors later discovered a blood clot in his brain, which was treated, but some believe this may have influenced his later behavior. Even in his teenage years, John was desperate for acceptance. Bullied by peers, rejected by his father, and struggling with his own sexuality, he learned early how to wear a mask. A mask of charm, humor, and charisma. A mask he would later weaponize. By the mid-1960s, Gacy appeared to have turned his life around. He married his first wife, Marlon Myers, and moved to Iowa, where he worked as a manager for Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants owned by his father-in-law. In public, Gacy seemed successful, a devoted husband, a father, a provider. But beneath the surface, the cracks were already showing. He became active in the JCs, a civic organization known for its community involvement. There, Gacy gained a reputation as outgoing, charming, and hardworking. But within the JCs, there was also a darker side, rumors of heavy drinking, pornography, and even wife swapping. He was always around, always helping out. But there were whispers about the younger boys he liked to spend time with. Behind the smile, John Wayne Gacy was developing dangerous habits. In 1968, those habits caught up with him. Gacy was convicted of sexually assaulting a teenage boy. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison but served just 18 months before being released. His wife divorced him, and his family ties fractured. Most people, after prison, might try to rebuild their lives quietly. But not Gacy. He returned to Chicago determined to create a new image, a man of the people, a man of the community. And it worked. Almost too well. In the 1970s, Gacy reinvented himself as the model neighbor. He started a successful construction business. He threw elaborate summer parties for hundreds of guests, including politicians and community leaders. And he created his most infamous persona, Pogo the Clown. Dressed in red, white, and blue, Gacy entertained at children's hospitals and local events. Parents loved him. Kids laughed. But while the community saw a clown, Gacy saw opportunity. Pogo was the mask. And behind it, lurked a predator. Behind closed doors, John Wayne Gacy's home became a theater of horror. Between 1972 and 1978, he lured at least 33 young men and boys into his clutches. To his neighbors, Gacy's modest home at 8213 West Somerdale Avenue was ordinary. But inside, it was a death trap. The luring. Many of Gacy's victims were runaways, hitchhikers, or young men looking for work. Gacy would drive around in his Oldsmobile, scanning for vulnerable teens. His approach was disarmingly simple. He offered them a job with his construction company, PDM Contractors. Or he promised quick cash for odd jobs around the house. Gacy's voice, jovial and persuasive. "Hey kid, you need some work? I've got a few hours pay for you if you want. Easy money, nothing to it." And once they got in his car, there was no escape. The clown trick. Inside his home, Gacy often used his clown persona to break the ice. He had perfected a disturbing ruse he called the handcuff trick. Reenactment. Gacy, smiling, shows a boy a pair of handcuffs. He cuffs himself, then quickly unlocks them with a hidden key. The boy laughs nervously. Gacy hands him the cuffs. He would demonstrate how he could easily slip free, then challenge his guests to try it. Once they were restrained, the trick was revealed. Gacy had the key. His victims did not. With his victims bound, Gacy unleashed his cruelty. Some were strangled with rope, using a twisted variation of his so-called rope trick. Others were suffocated or assaulted before their deaths. Each crime followed a chillingly ritualistic pattern: control, humiliation, domination, and finally, silence. The house soon filled with the stench of decay. Neighbors complained, describing it as a smell like sewage. Gacy, ever the manipulator, brushed it off. Dialogue reenactment. Gacy laughing at a neighbor. "Yeah, the pipes are busted again. Damn plumbing. You know how these old houses are." But the truth was far worse. Beneath his home, in the cramped crawl space, Gacy buried the bodies. He dug shallow graves, stacking his victims like forgotten objects. Some so close, their bones touched. Life above the graves. What makes Gacy's crimes even more chilling is that life went on above the graves. While bodies decomposed beneath the floorboards, Gacy threw lavish neighborhood parties. Politicians, police officers, friends, and family ate, drank, and danced, just feet above a mass grave. And still, no one suspected a thing. The clown kept smiling, the neighbor kept waving, and the killer kept killing. The victims. Among the 33 known victims were boys as young as 14. Their names, too often forgotten, tell the story of stolen lives. Timothy McCoy, 16. John Butkovich, 18. William Bundy, 19. Gregory Godzik, 17. Robert Pius, 15. Some were runaways. Some were sons who told their mothers they'd be home for dinner. None returned. Behind every number, every body found, was a family forever shattered. Escalation. By 1977, Gacy's killings escalated. His confidence grew. He murdered more frequently, sometimes disposing of bodies in rivers when the crawl space filled. Each act seemed to reinforce his delusion of power, his belief that he was untouchable. One of the scariest things about Gacy was how normal he acted. He'd shake your hand, tell a joke, and you'd never know that just hours earlier, he might have been burying a boy in his crawl space. But monsters like Gacy always slip up. And in December of 1978, one boy's disappearance would finally bring his empire of death crashing down. The case that would finally unravel John Wayne Gacy began with a boy named Robert Pius. Robert was just 15 years old. On December 11, 1978, he was working a shift at a pharmacy in Des Plaines, Illinois. That evening, Robert told his mother he was going to speak to a contractor about a potential job. He promised her he'd be back soon. Robert's voice, hopeful. "Don't worry, Mom. I'll be home by dinner. It won't take long." The contractor's name? John Wayne Gacy. Robert never came home. The first suspicions. Robert's family immediately contacted police. They knew their son. He wasn't the type to run away. And there was one crucial detail. The last person he mentioned was John Wayne Gacy. Detectives began looking into Gacy. On paper, he seemed harmless, a small business owner, an active member of the community, even a man who entertained children as a clown. But beneath that facade, his history told another story. Investigators quickly discovered Gacy's criminal record, specifically his conviction a decade earlier for sexually assaulting a teenage boy. Suddenly, the friendly neighbor didn't look so harmless. Surveillance begins. Police placed Gacy under constant surveillance. 2 teams of officers followed him day and night, documenting his every move. What they witnessed only deepened their suspicions. He'd drive like crazy, pulling sharp turns, circling back on us. It was like he knew he was being followed. Sometimes he'd pull over and invite us into a bar for drinks. He joked about it, like he was daring us to catch him. As days passed, Gacy grew reckless. He drank heavily. He bragged to officers. At one point, he chillingly told them. Gacy's voice slurred with arrogance. "You know, clowns can get away with murder." The first search warrant. On December 13, 1978, police obtained a search warrant for Gacy's house. Inside, they found peculiar items. A class ring belonging to a missing teenager. Handcuffs. A 2x4 plank with holes drilled in the ends, suspected to be used for restraints. Clothing too small to fit Gacy. But what caught officers' attention most was the overpowering smell in the house. Detective voice. We noticed it immediately. It was this sickly, sweet odor. Gacy brushed it off, said it was the plumbing. But we weren't buying it. Gacy unravels. As pressure mounted, Gacy's behavior grew more erratic. He stopped sleeping. He drove aimlessly for hours. He confessed strange things to friends, hinting that his life was over, that he'd done terrible things. On December 20, 1978, Gacy walked into his lawyer's office for a scheduled meeting. There, he made a stunning admission. Gacy's voice, flat and eerie. "I've been the judge, jury, and executioner of many, many people." His lawyers, stunned, alerted authorities. The walls were closing in. On December 21st, police secured a second warrant to thoroughly search Gacy's home. What they found beneath that modest suburban house would horrify the nation. As detectives crawled beneath the floorboards, they uncovered human remains. First one, then another, and another. The crawl space was a mass grave. In total, 29 bodies were unearthed from beneath Gacy's home. 4 more were later discovered in nearby rivers, where he had dumped them when the crawl space filled. John Wayne Gacy was arrested and charged with multiple counts of murder. The trusted neighbor, the community clown, the man who shook hands with politicians, was revealed as one of the deadliest serial killers in American history. But even with Gacy behind bars, the story wasn't over. Next came the trial, the chilling testimonies, the twisted defense, and the verdict that would seal his fate. By the time John Wayne Gacy went to trial in February 1980, his name was already infamous. The discovery of 33 victims had shocked not just Illinois, but the entire world. The trial would last 5 weeks and reveal details that were almost too disturbing to believe. From the start, the evidence against Gacy was overwhelming. Bodies pulled from his crawl space, personal belongings of missing boys, eyewitness accounts, and his own chilling admissions. Still, his defense team argued insanity, that Gacy was not in control of his actions. Some of the most powerful testimony came from survivors. Young men who had narrowly escaped Gacy's grasp. They described being lured with promises of work, then tricked into handcuffs and assaulted. Their words painted a portrait of a man who derived pleasure from absolute control. He laughed while I struggled. I thought I was going to die. He told me, nobody would ever believe me if I told. Jurors listened in horror. These weren't just crimes of violence. They were crimes of humiliation, domination, and calculated cruelty. The prosecution argued that Gacy was fully aware of his actions, that he planned his crimes, concealed his victims, and even bragged about his ability to manipulate. The defense, meanwhile, insisted Gacy suffered from multiple personality disorder. They claimed it wasn't John Wayne Gacy who killed, it was his alternate persona, Jack. Ladies and gentlemen, this man knew exactly what he was doing. He dug graves in advance. He bought lime to mask the smell of decay. He boasted about his crimes. That is not insanity, that is premeditation. On March 12, 1980, after just over 2 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a verdict. John Wayne Gacy was found guilty of 33 counts of murder. It was the largest number of murder convictions ever handed down in U.S. history at that time. He was sentenced to death. But Gacy would not meet his fate for another 14 years. On death row, Gacy lived in a world far removed from his suburban house of horrors. He passed the years painting. Many of his works depicted clowns, including his alter ego, Pogo. Some of these paintings were sold at auction, fetching thousands of dollars. To the families of victims, it was a cruel reminder that Gacy was still profiting from his infamy. Even in prison, Gacy maintained his arrogance. In interviews, he denied responsibility, shifting blame onto others, or insisting the victims had come to him willingly. He once said, Gacy's voice, defiant, "I should never have been convicted of anything more serious than running a." After 14 years of appeals, John Wayne Gacy's time ran out. On May 10, 1994, he was executed by lethal injection at Stateville Correctional Center. His last meal was a bizarre indulgence: fried chicken, French fries, a dozen shrimp, strawberries, and a Diet Coke. His final words? Gacy's voice, cold and blunt, "Kiss my ass." At 12:58 a.m., John Wayne Gacy was pronounced dead. Outside the prison, some cheered. Others wept. For the families of his victims, the execution marked an end, but not closure. The Gacy case changed America. It revealed the terrifying possibility that evil could hide in plain sight. It exposed flaws in law enforcement coordination that allowed him to kill for years unchecked. And it scarred a generation, parents who suddenly feared that even the friendly neighbor next door could be a predator. His crimes forced communities to question trust, safety, and the very masks people wear in daily life. John Wayne Gacy wasn't the stranger in a dark alley. He wasn't the shadow lurking in the woods. He was the smiling man next door. A neighbor. A volunteer. A clown who made children laugh. He was proof that monsters don't always look like monsters. Behind the mask of Pogo the Clown was a predator who destroyed 33 young lives, and countless families left behind. His story reminds us of a chilling truth: evil often hides in plain sight. Sometimes it waves from across the street. Sometimes it shakes your hand. And while John Wayne Gacy is gone, the memory of his victims must never be forgotten. Their names, their faces, their futures, they are what matter most in this story. They are the reason we tell it. This is the legacy of the killer clown next door, a legacy that warns us, sometimes, the most dangerous people are the ones who seem the most ordinary.